Thank you. This evening we want to spend some time talking about a question that begs answers. And many times I've worked with people and they've asked me, what can I do to get started from where I am to where I want to go? And I always suggest that they need to have a person to assist them in achieving their dreams, goals, and aspirations. I found from my personal experience being a former motivational speaker that people today need someone to work with them on a regular basis, and I refer to that person as a coach or a trainer, someone that can assist them on an ongoing basis. That's why the question of the day is, why are you trying to play the success game without a coach? Many times people, if we look at sports in general, we have hockey, baseball, football, and all these sports have coaches and managers. And one thing that I found out about coaches and managers are they were former players. So if you are making an attempt to go down the road of success and you want to have greater levels of success, then it would be important for you to get involved with someone that's going to assist you so that you can achieve your goal. Most people have goals. Now the question is, in a lot of cases, a lot of people don't have written goals, and I'm going to talk about that a little later. Written goals are very important because it's like a roadmap. I know that I wouldn't, and probably you wouldn't want to go on a trip unless you had a map. Here in the Chicagoland area, Atlanta, New York, no matter where you want to go in this country, you wouldn't want to go on a trip that you had never been on before unless you had a roadmap. And what we like to do here, I always like to refer to a roadmap to success, a roadmap for greater levels of success. And that's very important. That's another point I want to talk and reemphasize to you that I found from my personal experience, that when I wrote my goals down and also made a list of those things that I needed to do to get from where I am to where I want to be, that I always did much better as a result of having a written plan than I would trying to do it all from my head. Because you know, when life shows up and you have to start dealing with life on life's terms, so many times we get so overwhelmed with our work, our school, our children, our family, that we really don't have an opportunity to stay focused on what we need to stay focused on. And what happens sometimes, we come home from work and you may sit in front of the television and you look up and 3 and 4 hours have gone by, and what have you done for yourself? You went and worked for someone else for 8 hours, you come home, you eat, you relax, and you look up and it's time to go to bed, and you really didn't do anything for yourself. You have to put yourself first if you want to achieve your goal. Now, again, when we look at the success game, I've studied the success of hundreds of men and women that have been very successful, and I also have a talk show where we use a definition for success being the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, which means that if you are working towards achieving a specific goal and objective, and systematically, day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour, you're moving closer and closer towards that goal, then you're successful. It's not contingent on how much money you earn. Money is not the benchmark by which you should measure your success. That is very important for you to understand, that if you get caught up in the money, then that's going to create some problems for you, because I found from my personal experience, and again the experience of others, is that what happens is you can become so focused on measuring your progress as it relates to how much money you've accumulated that you may end up quitting or breaking down or telling yourself that you're not making progress, because true success and true progress it just kind of like shows up all of a sudden. Sometimes you can't even see the progress. Sometimes if you have close friends or associates that are monitoring you, they are aware of what you're doing, what your plans are, and they're supportive of you, then what happens is they can give you feedback. They can see things through an objective eye that you can't see. Because I know myself, I have always been very critical and hard on myself. I found that when we get involved and better understand the importance of being in the success game and getting a coach, that there are other people that can coach you that may not be like a personal trainer if you were working on your body, for example. Some people have spiritual coaches. Some people call them their minister or their spiritual leader or whatever. There are many aspects of ourselves that we need to work on, but the most important thing is to focus on what our purpose is, and as a result of realizing our purpose, we can start focusing on our mission. And once we know what our mission is, then we can feel more comfortable with ourselves that we are doing something that's going to be worthwhile. But let me back up for a minute and talk about some of the people that can be instrumental in your personal development towards having greater levels of success. And I've talked about having a personal coach. Again, I moved from being a motivational speaker and doing more one-on-one work with individuals as a coach, their personal coach, and also their trainer as it relates to a lot of information that they may not have had. And I've been able to help and assist people by linking them to information, and so that they can absorb this information, and then I can show them how to apply that information, because many people have gone under the assumption that knowledge is power, but that's not totally true. It's only through the application of knowledge that you are able to obtain power, and it's questionable what type of power you need. The power to give you the strength to move forward when you're going through those hard times, because you're going to have some ups and downs as you go down the road to greater levels of success. You're going to have a bumpy road. You're going to have detours. You're going to have to get off course sometime. You're going to run into bad weather. You're going to run into storms. These things are going to show up in your life. You have to have the strength and the understanding that what you're doing is so important that the things that matter the most can never be at the mercy of the things that matter the least. Let me say that again. The things that matter the most can never be at the mercy of the things that matter the least. When you're focused and you're living on purpose, then you don't have a situation where you may stumble and fall, but you can get back up, especially if you have people that are supporting you. One thing they need to look at, and I found from my personal history that, and I talk about myself a lot because I believe that if you need to believe and you need to come to believe that what has happened for me and what has happened for thousands of others as it relates to people achieving their goals and having greater levels of success, that you need to be talking to a person that has a personal experience or has had personal experience with people that have personal experience with having success, because I believe each and every person watching this program or listening to this program, whether you're in your car, you're in your home, or wherever, that you are looking and seeking to get some information so that you can have a breakthrough. This program that I'm doing today is just the beginning. I've also studied and come to a greater understanding of why many people just don't get over the hump, and it has to do a lot with what they believe. Now, that's another program for another time. But I want to tell you how important it is, because I know you heard the slogan. I don't know if it's a slogan. You heard the phrase where people say that people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. I kind of interchanged the words, said people that need people are the most blessed people in the world. You cannot do this by yourself. You do need help and you do need support. And many of you would attest to the fact that a lot of times the support that we need We don't necessarily get that support from our loved ones, people that are the closest to us, that sometimes that deters us from moving forward in a direction that we want to move forward to. Sometimes it's people that we may just meet that are attracted to us, and we share our ideas with them, and they listen to us, and they support us, that we can pick up the phone and call these people. These people can be referred to as huggers. People that embrace you physically or will embrace you when you're in a time of need, when you may be a little down and out and unsure yourself. Most people go through this process, and when you talk to other people that have gone through the process, it gives you encouragement. It gives you encouragement to keep on keeping on, as they would say. We have to do that, because a life lived without purpose or on purpose is really not a life worth living. We need to really understand that it's more to life than just going to work a job, come home, watch television. And we do live in a technological age at this time and point that you could get very consumed with the news, get consumed with your job, get consumed with your family. There's a lot of things that are happening in and on this planet that are coming as a result of direct relationship of the laws of cause and effect. And a lot of these effects are showing up in our lives, which are creating some real challenges for us. But I would say that the opportunities today are much greater than they were yesterday, last week, and last month, because there are people that need things that they have never needed before. There are technology that's needed. There are services and products that are needed. More and more people have moved away from producing and being what they used to call entrepreneurs in the last century. I'm heavily involved in what I refer to as I am an infopreneur, which means I provide people with information, and through that information, they gain knowledge, and through that knowledge, I'm able to show them how to apply that knowledge so that they can get the desired result. When we look at the fact that we ask the question, why are you trying to play the success game without a coach? We need to also look at the fact that when we ask that question, it goes back, for those that may have missed the point earlier, that you need a coach in your life. You need a person that can guide you, a person that has played the game before, knows the rules and the regulations of the game, a person that was coached by another coach, and as a result of being a great player, they've elevated themselves to become a good coach. So it's nothing wrong with getting a helping hand and having someone help you and assist you in your dreams and aspirations. Now, I know I may sound somewhat repetitive as it relates to some of the things that I'm saying, but I know for a fact that repetition is the mother of skill. Repetition is the mother of skill. The more you repeat something, it becomes embedded not only in the conscious mind, but in the subconscious. As once it becomes in the subconscious, then it can become automatic. That's how we develop habits, by repeatedly doing the same thing over and over again. And as a result of that, we do get the same results. And on the other hand, if we have a habit that's not positive, that's defeating our purpose, many times we don't do what is necessary to change our attitudes, to change our beliefs, to change our concepts, so that we can see some change in our life. If nothing changes, nothing changes. You may ask yourself, well, who else do I need in my network to support me? We know about role models, and in a minute I'm going to talk about mentors. And many people are confused about mentors. A role model is any person that you feel as though exhibited some type of attributes that would be favorable for you to obtain, that would enhance you as an individual, whether it be in the area of character, whether it be in the area of developing some type of skill, whatever you're drawn to, that person has in their character or their characteristics that you could use. You can model your behavior, model your thinking after that person. That's why when we read many of the books, the autobiographies and the biographies of people, and we read a lot of the books that deal with personal growth and development, it's very good for us to do that, because it gives us the opportunity to take a look at other people's stories so we can look at the similarities. Everybody's story is basically different, but there are so many similarities. There are so many things that happen to me, that happen to other people, that it gives you an opportunity that if you can relate to that person's story, if you can relate to that person's experience, then that gives you a sense that you're not alone in your own personal endeavor, and that you're not in a hopeless situation. It's not so much being hopeless, but you're just not standing alone. When you walk through those dark valleys, when you have to rise to the occasion and rise above situations that seem like you just won't be able to overcome, that you're able to tap into people and get on the phone and call them or meet with them and talk to them and share with them what you're going through. Pick up a book where you've read someone's story. That many books that I have in my library, that I pick those books up on more than one occasion. I just don't read them one time. Sometimes I recall something that happened, and I'll go back and pick up that particular book, which will give me the additional encouragement that I need so that I could sustain myself during the period of time that I'm going through. No one said that life would be easy, and life is not easy. Matter of fact, if life was easy, then it really wouldn't be any fun. The fun comes when you go through and grow through situations, and with hindsight and with your memory reflecting back on what you went through, you see that it wasn't really all that bad at all. Now, we talked about role models. You can learn a lot from role models. Let me make this very clear, and this is not my personal opinion. A mentor is a person that has a relationship with another person called a mentee. I hear many times people say, well, so-and-so is my mentor, and they don't even know the person personally. That person cannot be your mentor unless that person selected you and said, I want to develop a relationship with you. I want to work with you. I want to help you cultivate yourself and share what I know, share my knowledge, share my expertise, because it's no good to me if I take it all with me. We all know that we're going to make our transitions at some point in time. But the most important thing is not only to achieve higher levels of success, but be able to pass back or pass on what is learned, sharing your experience with others. No man can be an island. No one pulls their own selves up by the bootstraps. Someone always comes along and assists them in their endeavor. Many people you may hear talk about they're a self-made millionaire or they're a self-made person. You give me 5 minutes with that person and I could dispel that into a myth that they're not self-made. Someone had to assist them. Their mother was their first teacher. Now, you're going to discount the fact that your mother had nothing to do with your success when she was your first teacher from day one? So these people, I think I kind of understand what they're saying, and it's not to be misinterpreted, but I want to make it very clear to you so that you don't isolate yourself to the point that you think that you can make it by yourself. See, you can do whatever you want to do, and you can be in your own business and about the business of your own success, but you don't have to be in it by yourself. You can be in it with someone else that's just waiting and watching to assist you. I get great joy out of helping people and assisting people in pursuing whatever their desire is. I don't tell people, oh, no, you shouldn't do this or you shouldn't do that. If they make a choice, a conscious choice, that this is what they want to do, then what we have to do is get all the facts, lay out a plan of action. It's just like coming up with an idea for building a home. You take these ideas, you put them on paper, you work them out, you sit down with an architect, he tells you what's feasible and what's not feasible. Really and truly speaking, there's nothing that's impossible. What's impossible is the level of consciousness that causes someone to think that something is impossible. So they put self-limitations on themselves, which puts them in a position that if you put limitations on yourself, then your expectations are limited. So the higher your expectations, then that leaves no room for limitations. Who needs limitations? I know I don't. I don't need limitations. I don't believe in limitations. I believe that I should have high expectations because I work with a power of what's within me that's called my imagination. And again, that's another program for another time. So I would say to you that you need to concentrate on taking another look at, number one, what you want to do, how you want to do it, why you want to do it is more important than the how. If you have a big enough why, then the hows will show up. Many times, people get stalled on the highway to success or on the highway of success because they start worrying too much about how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to get the money? I don't have enough education. I need to go back to school. I'm working. I got children. The list, I can spend the next hour talking about all the hows, the hows, the hows. Don't let the hows get in your way. Focus on your whys. If you've got a big enough why, then the solution to your hows will show up. I've seen people do things with the end in mind, completing things with the end in mind, taking their mind and projecting and taking a look at what the end result is going to be and focusing on the end result and moving forward as though it's already done, saying to themselves it's already done. And based on that, I found that many people have achieved things that have gone far beyond their own beliefs. They never even thought that they would be able to have that new home, create that new business, generate a new body, looking physically fit and feeling very vibrant about themselves. It's just so many things that we can do with ourselves. But the point of this particular program is when we look at the fact that, and we ask the question, why are you trying to play the success game without a coach? You need a coach. Find someone to assist you, to guide you. I was talking to a lady the other night, and I had mentioned to her the importance of writing her goals and having a written plan. And she told me, well, I really don't do that quite often. I said, well, I can appreciate that. I'm not going to fight with you about whether or not you should have a written plan or not. But it's kind of ironic that those people that are in some of the same places you want to be use those tools. They use a pencil called a tool. They use some paper called a tool so that they can design and develop their own plan of action, their own blueprint, write their own roadmap, get their own direction, and keep track of it. See, when you look at things on paper, it gives you a much better opportunity to not only visualize it because it's in front of you, you're using your eyes, your perception, you can see it rather than having it, in your head. Because what happens is, as the day goes on, so many things come up that if you had it in a notebook or a journal, you could reference that information at any given time, which would be a good thing. So I want to recap we only have a few seconds, a few minutes left, not seconds, few minutes left here, is that when we ask the question, why am I trying to play the success game without a coach? The answer to that question is, I really don't know any better. Now that I spent the last 20, 25 minutes with you explaining the importance of having a coach and a trainer to help you grow in your own personal development based on your own personal goals and aspirations, that you need someone as a guide, as a way shorer to carry you, not carry you, but to carry you in the sense that they'll give you that additional push that you need. You need someone to coach you along. Anyone that does bodybuilding will let you know that when you're in the gym and you're lifting weights, for example, and people are pushing you or coaching you to push more weight, that you do far better than you would if you were working out by yourself. When you're running, you don't go the same distance that you would go if you were running with someone else. When you're riding a bike, you don't go the same distance that you would go if you were working out with someone. So when two or more are gathered, the power in the two or more is much greater than in the one. So I would leave you with this thought that you can keep trying to do it the way that you always done, and you're going to keep getting what you always got. Now, I'm not here trying to tell you what to do. I'm just suggesting to you that you need to consider taking it upon yourself to get some help. I had to get some help. For so many years, I tried to do it by myself. I've made more progress in the last 10 or 15 years than I did in the first 20. So a hint to the wise is sufficient, but sometimes you have to drop a bomb on a fool. Yeah! Now, I didn't say that to insult anybody. I just want you to think about what I said, and I would hope that you would rejoin us. We have a series of programs that deal with personal growth and development. This was just one today. Why are you trying to play the success game without a coach? I want to thank you for listening, and we will rejoin you soon. Yeah!